Hey everybody, you get a double feature today. Tony Gaffastone here with the Brave Maker Film Fest. And today was the day we were supposed to be debuting our second annual film festival. We were to have 3 days full of film screenings and panel discussions and live music and comedians, but we were also expanding to have live theater. So today we're going to try, this is also an experiment, to do it online here with presenting something from the Mexican American Conservatory Theater, which is based in San Francisco. My friend, Francisco Rodriguez, who I met in San Francisco, or actually a few months ago. I guess it was more like, I don't know, December. I saw a live reading of his play called The Men that he had been working on. It was a translated piece from Mexican to English, and you can find them at the Mex-Am Theater on Instagram. But I'm going to bring in Francisco and tell us a little bit about what we're going to be doing today. Hi, Francisco.
Hello, thank you so much, Tony, for having me. I'm so excited, like you don't even know. I'm going to explode from the inside.
Right on, man. We're happy to be able to host you, and thanks for helping us pave the way and push forward that Brave Maker is more than just film, but we are going to be live theater and music and the arts, really believing and encompassing the idea that art can change culture, art can open our minds, arts can, brave stories can change the world. So tell us a little bit about what we're going to do today, about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Francisco Rodriguez. I've been an actor since I was in high school, professionally for about 6-7 years. I moved to Mexico a little bit over 2 years ago, and I lived there for a little bit over 2 years. And a big reason behind me moving to Mexico was to discover the richness of Mexican theater. Here in the US, of course, as a theater maker here, as a theater practitioner in the Bay Area, I'm exposed to a lot of theater, a lot of great theater. But, you know, I was very curious to learn more about specifically Mexican theater and Latin American theater. And I realized there wasn't so much information and there wasn't so much access to it here. So I jumped the gun and moved to Mexico with that intention, not just because of that, but because I love the culture. I'm Mexican American. And in the process, I met wonderful people like Lourdes Salmeron, who should be on here. She might be joining us, I'm not sure, who was a producer. Hola, Lourdes.
Hola, no me ven, pero aquí estoy.
She said, you can't see me, but I'm here. And we met through a workshop. And, you know, I just had, you know, this wide-eyed guy in a new country, just wanting to consume everything. And Lourdes was kind enough to take me under her wing. And we started working together. And I started to have all these ideas, you know, and she was like, why don't you produce a play? Why don't we put a play up together? Why don't we do these things? So I went ahead and produced my very first play, which is called El Equilibrista, under our first version of the company, which was named Teatro Sublingual. And you can see some pictures of me on there. And Lourdes was wonderful enough to direct the piece for us. And it was a wonderful collaboration between North American designers, artists, theater artists, and Mexican artists. The big part of this project was getting our designers who were based here in the Bay Area to work on this play. And they drew everything here in San Francisco, and then their compensation was I flew them out for a weekend. They got to enjoy their work that was built by Mexican hands. And it was a true collaboration of two theater communities. That's kind of where it all started, you know. And
Beautiful.
Yeah, and here we are.
Yeah, so why don't you introduce the rest of your company today who are going to be sharing the work?
Absolutely. So we have Lourdes Salmeron, who is a master of Mexican literature. And like I said, she's been working with me and educating me and sharing all this wonderful richness with me. We have La Doctora Olga Martha Peñadoria, who is the theater investigator, and university professor at the University of Guadalajara. And she's the one who actually gifted me with the anthology of Catalina Dercel's wonderful plays. And if it wasn't for her and her husband, her husband actually wrote the play I produced. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be so involved in this piece. And we have Isabel Hermosillo, who is our translator. We had an original translator working with me named Chris Ashbolt. He's no longer working with us. He got busy. So I found Isabel through a friend, and it's just been magic ever since. And the original piece that we translated was only Act 2 of The Men. It was only a short piece of it. That was a sample to see if people would respond well to it, to see how it would sound in English, if it was worth, moving forward to a full translation. And as you came, Tony, to the presentation, it was magical. So here we are, and Isabel has been working really hard. We've been working really hard together these past few months, having a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of fun. Yeah. And now we have the full piece completely translated. We also have Deborah, but she just sent me a text saying that her computer froze. And Deborah is another producer that's been working here with me. Deborah Cortez has been working here with me in San Francisco, producing this piece in English, as well as being our lead actor, Azucena, from the play, in the presentation that we did in December.
Yeah, so that's a shout out to Lisa Keating and her tribe of creative people that meet in Berkeley when we're not sheltering in place. I went to this live reading and I thought, oh, this is so cool. I love the synergy of live performance and storytelling. And I especially, for Brave Maker's vision, is to elevate brave voices for justice, diversity, and inclusion. And so sadly, we weren't going to be able to do this live. Francisco was going to also do a bilingual workshop, a theater workshop for families and their children. So we're sad not to do that, but we hope this little piece will give you a little appetizer to what they're about. Deborah just joined us, so she's back. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Awesome.
Yay.
Awesome.
Hi.
Yeah, and hey, and then so this is Deborah. I think we have Lourdes kind of popping in and out too. So technology, right? It's all good. But yeah, so Deborah was working with me, and as you can see, she fits perfectly Azucena. I love Deborah, and she's been working with me as well as a producer here with this project.
Hi everyone. Can you see me? Yes.
Yeah, okay. You look great. We see you.
Hi everyone. I'm really happy to be here. And I met Francisco sometime last year. I don't remember exactly when. And yeah, we talked about this project, and it's really, really exciting. I've been acting since high school, like he has, and professionally maybe 5 years now, with a long hiatus in between.
Fantastic.
Why don't you, would love, I know I was talking a lot. Isabel, why don't you talk a little bit about yourself? It would be great. And then we'll move on to Olga, and we'll help you translate. Doctora.
Well, all right. Well, I've been a translator for some time now, and I majored in literature from college. And I just jumped into translation because I love the idea of bringing worlds together. I think it's a very important part of literature that one great work of fiction can jump into another world, which is another language. And that's the reason that got me here. And I'm very excited about working with Esos Hombres because it's quite the stage play. It's an amazing piece of early 20th century feminism. It's an amazing play. It really is. I'm very glad to be part of this team, along with Chris, who also did an amazing work with Act 2. It's an amazing work. Thank you so much, Olga, for sharing this with everybody.
Gracias. Bueno. Sí, bueno.
Adelante, doctora.
Me presento, yo soy Olga Martha Peñadoria, tengo un doctorado, un PhD en Humanidades y Artes. especializada en teatro y me dedico a la investigación teatral y a dar clase. Pero para mí ha sido una aventura maravillosa poder encontrar estas mujeres que por azares del destino me dieron una clase cuando estudiaba en Estados Unidos, en la maestría, y me puso el maestro, que es mi esposo, me puso a leer Esos hombres de Catalina del Río. Y yo quedé prendada con Catalina Dercel, y luego pedía que me consiguieran más material. Obviamente no, porque fue tan exitosa Catalina que pues ella no quería publicar, porque decía que le iban a montar sin su permiso. Entonces, nada más años después publicó Esos hombres y 2 obras más. Yo tuve la fortuna. Sí.
Vamos a dar pausa para darte seguimiento.
So,
our special guest, Dr. Olga Martha Peña, she's a professor at the University of Guadalajara in humanities and arts, specializing in theater. And she was actually giving these plays a long time ago of Catalina by her husband. Her husband, who is also a theater investigator and professor, gave her Esos Hombres, and she read it, and she was so impacted. And she was telling us how Catalina originally did not actually want to produce these plays in the time period, which was in 1923, because she was afraid that people would steal her work from her. So that's where we are.
Also, she mentioned that there's this rarity to the work of women who published in the early 20th century, which is like a constant for women when it comes to the arts, right? Publishing under a male name or under several circumstances. That's quite interesting. And I think Esos Hombres talks a lot about injustice to women in several levels. So it is amazing that you found her, Olga, and brought her to this magnificent guy who is in charge of ensembling theater in the United States.
Thank you.
Adelante, adelante, doctora.
Sí. Bien, pues yo cuando regresamos a vivir a México, yo me dediqué a buscar, bueno, ¿quiénes son esas escritoras? Yo no tenía ni la menor idea, ¿sí? Y pues a base de estar preguntando, porque Catalina Dercel no se apellida Dercel, ella es Dulce Escalante. Entonces, pues yo no sabía, hasta que pues a base de ir a México y investigar por donde quiera, supe por fin su apellido, pero los libros decían Dercel. Entonces, fue difícil. Vi con su hija, preguntando y preguntando por todo el mundo, vi con su hija y ella pues se portó muy amable y me ofreció ya visitas y visitas a México, darme todo el material de su madre. Entonces tengo cajas con periódicos, revistas, libros, hasta la biblioteca de ella me la regaló. Sí, fue así para mí impresionante, porque yo le dije, es que yo quiero publicar a tu mamá, porque no la conoce nadie. Y me he dado conferencias en todos lados para dar a conocer a Catalina, y lo mismo a otras de la misma época, como Amalia de Castillo Ledón, que triunfó también cuando las hojas caen, y Conchita Sada y María Luisa Ocampo, que precisamente estoy escribiendo la investigación que hago, que me voy a los centros de investigación, gozo en eso que salía de las librerías de viejo, toda llena de tierra, que no podía ni ver de tanta tierra que había. Pues eran pues de esas librerías que venden basura, ¿verdad? Y ahí me encontré las obras de todas estas escritoras.
Wow.
¿Sí?
Wow.
Y así comenzó mi historia. Y me iba y luego pues a ir a pelear con los diputados y senadores a que por favor pues abrieran la posibilidad de rescatar a estas mujeres, sobre todo Amalia de Castillo Ledón, que fue importantísima mujer, y logré que la llevaran a la rotonda de las personas ilustres. Y estoy luchando por llevar a Catalina.
A ver, vamos a dar una pausa. Isabel, if you can help me with that piece as well, I'm going to give as much as I can, and if you can jump in.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So, going off, so when she first read The Men, Esos Hombres, it wasn't a published, Catalina's plays were not published within Mexico. So she, just like me, was very impacted by the play, and like all of us, I think. So she went in to investigate more of the playwright of Catalina Verset, which actually her last name was not Verset. What was the last? ¿Qué era el nombre de el apellido?
Dulce Escalante. Su papá francés, que se vino a México al final del siglo XIX y era dueño de muchas posesiones. Ella vivía en Guanajuato, ¿sí? Entonces, pero se fueron a México, sí.
Yeah, so she was from, her last name was not actually Vercelo Dulce, and she's actually from a French father that came here to move to Mexico, and I think they had strawberry farms and such. However, these plays were not plays that were known or even published. So what La Doctora did, she actually found Catalina Verset's daughter and went to her directly to find all of her plays, magazines, even Catalina's personal library was gifted by her daughter to La Doctora, which is incredible. And this is how all of these plays have been resurfacing.
And using the curiosity of an archaeologist, Dr. Olga went to these bookstores where they have massive volumes of old forgotten books, and that's where you find the most amazing pieces of literature, mainly through anthologies, right, Dr. Olga? Las antologías.
Sí, y la última es esta, que fue la que le di a Francisco, ¿sí? Con sus obras de teatro, ¿sí? Pues no tenía dinero para que me publicaran tanto, pero quedaron obras no importantes. Pero el problema era que los nietos de Catalina no querían autorizarme para publicar. Entonces dije, bueno, están ustedes iguales que su abuela, que no publicaron. Dijo, ¿cómo la voy a dar a conocer? Entonces fue, bueno, una aventura que tuve para que me pudieran dar las cartas de permiso. Pero la logré, porque soy muy persistente. Y no
Sí, me permite, Francisco, ¿puedo decir? Yo, como se dice acá, hats off, doctora Olga. Es un regalo, usted no sabe el regalo que nos está dando, y especialmente las mujeres.
Sí.
Es, wow, like, thank you. Hats off. It's like such a hard work and what a gift.
Sí, pero es difícil porque ya se me murieron las hijas. Entonces, ahora el problema es luchar por los nietos, que pues no sé qué piensan, que no me permiten publicar. son muy raros, ¿verdad? Pues, pero soy, dale, que dale, y les hablo por teléfono y voy a México y lucho para poder rescatar a estas mujeres, porque
So
ellas sí ayudaron a despertar a las mujeres mexicanas por medio del teatro. Sí.
So something that was that we were continuing to talk about after she discovered and was gifted all of these plays and works. You know, she began the work of publishing them in anthologies and different books. She got the permission from her daughter, and right now she's working with continuing the struggle with Catalina's grandchildren, who are still resisting publishing these plays and giving them, getting them out there. And Isabel, if you can interject a little bit with me.
Yeah.
I think there was something about getting the plays into the public domain or something. I missed that part. I understand in Spanish, but I wanted that to be translated.
Yeah, apparently the trouble is jumping through generations, right, Doctora? While the daughters were open to get the people to know their mother's work, apparently the grandchildren have some kind of resistance, maybe the gene from their grandmother, the fear from their grandmother. But and very interesting thing that Dr. Olga shared with us is that Catalina Dercel empowered women back then by creating this very brave play, a stage play of theater, because when we get to talk more about Esos Hombres, we'll get to see that this play is filled with very peculiar energy. Deborah, you are Catalina. I mean, I'm sorry, you're Azucena. You can feel here. You can feel us more with what Azucena has for us in that play.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and segue. Yeah.
Sí, no, cuando leí la obra, la leí en español y en inglés. Y tengo muchas similitudes con el personaje de Azucena. Pero las palabras de ellas todavía resonan, son tan fuertes y es mucho más lo que hay en las palabras de Azucena y en la obra Esos Hombres, de lo que se lee. Y es algo que todavía las mujeres estamos viviendo hoy día, ¿no? So what I'm saying is like the character of Azucena and I have a lot of similarities in our lives, and the play of Catalina and the things that she wrote in there, the words are still relevant to today's world, in women's world. We're still fighting for our rights. We're still fighting to have our voices heard. And we're still, like especially in the Latino community, there's still that double standards of a man is allowed to do whatever he wants, but a woman cannot. And that's, that's the since you're little, you're taught that way, So I'm like so grateful to, Dr. Olga for discovering these, and like we need to help you. We need to help you fight, because people have to see these. It's so empowering. I'm like, so empowering. Yeah.
Yes, we can.
And
I wanted to quickly
Tony.
chime in and just say that was one of the reasons why I was really inspired to want to partner with you all, because of those themes that were surfacing in this work. I was really inspired, especially being somebody in a dominant culture and cisgendered and white, all these things. I was like, I need to learn from you all and from your stories and from this history. And I know the Bay Area is so diverse, especially the city that we are headquartered in, Redwood City. I think more than 50% of our community is Spanish speaking. So I'm so grateful to be able to have these stories. And I hope someday soon we'll be able to do these live and empower, especially the young generations, the young girls, to see themselves, to see that they are more than just what they have been lied to that they are. So again, just a thank you to you for this work and for being our first bilingual conversation with Bravemaker. So so thank you. Yeah.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Sí. Keep going.
Adiós.
But
yeah.
I think this is what we are. I think, like Deborah was saying, como decía Deborah, es que yo también, when I read this play, cuando leí esta obra, fue por error. Yo creo que quería leer La razón de la culpa, que también es de Catalina
Muy
de
buena.
Tetzel, que también muy buena. I wanted to read another play, actually, from the anthology that Olga showed us. I was looking for another play, and I opened up to the wrong page, and I started reading Esos Hombres without knowing. And as I was going through, I just couldn't put it down. I could not. I was in Oaxaca. I was on vacation, and I was just walking around, and I sat on a bench in a plaza, opened it up, and I just kept going and going and going. And this character just, there's some, and as a man, right? I'm a man, I'm a gay man, you know, I'm also light skinned, you know, I have a lot of different privileges, right? And the character of Azucena, one, the way she loved and the way she loves was so easily identified with, you know, a man, woman, cat, whatever. The way she loves was just so pure and so honest, you know, and without any kind of like, she didn't give a fuck, you know. She was like, I don't care, you know. Sorry, I'm sorry not to cuss. But then, you know, the piece that we're going to read towards the end of this talk in Act 2, where Azucena is finally, you know, just to go into a short summary of the play, you know, Azucena is a character who's divorced. And I believe in this time, divorce was just passed in Mexico. It was a very new thing. She divorced her husband. Yeah, she divorced her husband, and because it was just an ill marriage. She was in a bourgeoisie society, and she decided to live out of wedlock, you know, with another man of her same age who was not more like a bum, we can call him. And he was kind of using her for her money. Bad student. And you know, he's kind of like using her as like a sugar mama, right? We can use that term, like she's supporting him.
Well,
she's yeah, you know. And at the end of Act 2, you know, she finds out that he's actually leaving her and marrying a younger woman, and everyone is rejecting her because she no longer has anywhere to go. This man who is a bum has now become this very like clean, you know, respected man. And her, who came from a very respectable society, has fallen, but she can no longer go back to where she was. So she has this speech really telling the truth to the men in the play, but not just the men in the play, to me, you know, like when I was reading this play in Oaxaca, and she says, oh, you can do this because you're a man, but me. Oh, you can murder, you can rob, you can rape, but you'll be forgiven, you know. And she goes on and on with these different examples, which you guys will hear us read later. And that specific moment was just so impacting for me because I, as a man, did not realize the privilege I have, you know, really not. You know, I was able to travel Mexico and be in Oaxaca and be where I was without having the thought of, is somebody going to try to touch me? Is somebody going to holler at me? Is somebody maybe going to try to do something to me? You know, but maybe if I was a woman, I would not have the same security and safety that I feel walking around through life. And literally that speech that Azucena has where she's like, get out, you know, and she's like, whatever, was for me that wake-up call. It was like, wow, this character from almost 100 years ago is telling me to my face something that I never realized. Like, I'm just understanding that now. And this is why I'm here. And this is why I've been working to translate this play, you know, to empower women, but also to wake men up, you know, to wake us up to our privilege of just being born, you know, with this privilege.
Exactly.
And I wanted to add to that, Francisco, if I can. You know, Azucena, like you said, she loves. When she loves, she gives everything. I mean, everything. And that's how women are. You know, when we love, we just give everything, and we empower others. And you know, and she gets punished for that because she gets divorced, because she's not happy and she's looking for true happiness and true love. And in a way, she's looking out for her ex-husband. She can't give him what he wants or what he needs. And she sets him free so that he can be happy. And she falls in love with this guy who is, you know, a bad student, and she builds him up. She gives him everything, and she ends up with nothing. And we find out that, you know, Azucena, my character, finds out that he's marrying someone who's a virgin and that has more of a social status as opposed to Azucena. And like the love that she had, that the love that she gave doesn't mean anything. And because she's divorced, because, you know, she's a woman and she decided to live with her lover, which are all things that you can't do because you're female. But if you're male, it's okay, and you're like applauded. And, you know, like you know, the lover can marry someone after living with Azucena, you know. So those are like such powerful things. And we're still, in a way, you know, living through that today's world.
And not only she is nurturing and a very kind lover, but she's also a very brave woman. I remember this dialogue that we were working on, Francisco, that you loved from the very beginning of her translation, that Azucena says that what was she supposed to do if her husband was a really scumbag guy, using her, wasting her money away on women and alcohol. And she decides to say, no, I am not happy. I am just looking for my own happiness. Why can't I be happy? Why does my decision of being divorced has to be frowned upon while my ex-husband can be there, living life, doing whatever he wants? And I don't know. It was very empowering to read this play. Very, very empowering. So yeah, well, I wanted to add that on Azucena. She's not only kind and a very good lover, but also a very brave woman.
Yeah.
Because we're in 21st century now, and Azucena is still a very brave woman for this age.
Yeah, it's very important for us, you know, like to tell these stories, and, you know, and the woman that wrote it, brave also, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would love to hear more on Isabel, your process, because you taking these words, algo que no. We had Chris Ashbolt, who translated Act 2. Teníamos otro traductor que hizo la traducción del segundo acto. Luego Isabel came in and she took what we did and adapted and started translating the rest of what Act 2 needed, and Act 1 and Act 3. And now we have the full play completely translated. Beautiful work. We're still working. You know, we're editing, changing things, making it nice and fluid. You know, giving the magic,
the feel. Well, Dr. Olga, ella puede estar de acuerdo conmigo. She can agree with me that Catalina's writing, it's powerful. And the main challenge for me was to take this text that is not only a century old, and this old new text, take all that magic it has and put it into a new language, into English, and maintain the genius of Catalina. That was the main challenge. When you translate official records or another kind of documents, it's not all that intimidating because, you know, there is not much there. But when it's theater, you need music. it has a pacing. Words have pacing. There, Deborah said it early in this interview, there's something hidden beneath the words that you have to develop some sort of sensibility to be able to put it into the other language you're trying to convert this beautiful piece of literature into another language. So you yourself become a writer when you translate. And Catalina set the bar very high. I mean, you have to go there and give it a plus because you want North American audience to be able to feel what Catalina felt when writing Esos Hombres, it was quite the challenge. But Francisco and I, well, you know, you and I were all the time working here, fix this word, maybe change this syntax. It's an amazing job to translate. A difficult one, but a very amazing job.
And you've been doing such a fantastic job, and it's a joy to work with you, Isabel. You've been nothing but amazing, honestly. All of you. But, you know, and it's fun. Like you said, you almost do become a little bit of a writer. Because, for example, again, the text is 100 years old, almost. We're getting there, 3 years off. And two, you know, there's certain things in Spanish that make a lot of sense when you read it. And when it's translated into English, there's no absolute, like you just say, people don't speak like that, right? So our challenge, you know, Isabel's challenge, her main challenge was to find the equivalent of what Catalina was saying, and not just what the equivalent would be in English, but what is the equivalent in the 1920s in English? How did people speak in that time? You know, in American English? Because the interesting thing with Chris, he's British. So when he translated Act 2, so he would give me language that was very British in English. And when I read it, I did not understand. And I said, our target is American audience. And I want to make sure that it's for an American audience, because and I want to make sure that the language is also easy enough for anybody to pick up and read and be able to understand the story. You know, I want anybody.
Yeah, that was quite the challenge. Well, I'm a Mexican girl, so my mother language is Spanish. So there's an extra level of challenge when you have to jump from your original language into your second language. That was the challenge for me, because I had to read the theater produced in the earliest 20th century. So it involves a lot of research, a lot of reworking and rewriting and rereading and everything. Everything. You have to redo everything constantly. But it was an honor to translate this piece. It was quite the honor to take like this feminist manifesto of theater into our century, which we desperately needed to be there. So thank you again, everybody, for putting this work, this team together to bring it alive, to bring Azucena alive again.
Absolutely. And here we are. We're going to continue. You know, the point is, this project is taking, you know, it's taking the time that it needs. I've been working on it personally for about 2 years now. The first time I read it was about 2 years ago. And it's one of those things, like I said earlier, like, you know, something inside me, something inside my soul was just like, you need to keep this going. Like people need to know this character. People need to know this story. This is very important. And I just kept going and going, and I kept talking about it. And I was like, I applied for a grant. I didn't get a grant. And I was like, I'll fund it myself. And, you know, here we are little by little. You know, the goal is not just this play. You know, we've been working on this play for a long time, but the goal is with the Mexican American Conservatory Theater, which our goal is to translate Mexican and Latin American plays into English for North American audiences. Once we have, closed this cycle with the story and we can finally, get it up on its feet and live, the goal is to continue, right? Maybe another playwright from the time period. I have a whole catalogity of plays that I love that I found in Mexico that are from Mexico and Latin America that I'm just waiting, to send over to Isabel.
Yes, please.
I wanted to drop in real quick and just say this is a perfect time to remind those who are watching that Bravemaker does have a program for storytellers, for filmmakers currently, but we do want to expand to open it up to creators of all kinds. If you have a story that you are trying to bring to life, it could be here, a live performance, like a theater piece, as these amazing storytellers are doing. You can go to our website. It's bravemaker.com. And we have a fiscal sponsees section. You can see right now we have 3 different projects that are going on. They're all by underrepresented voices telling the stories that are needed right now in our culture. And there's a place for people to apply too. So if you have a story that you are trying to raise money to do, we would love to help make that happen with our 501c3 nonprofit, because we are a nonprofit that exists to help creators. So all the donations that can come to this project could be tax deductible. So I just want to put that out there. Keep going. Thank you for what you're doing. And hopefully you all saw too, our programmer, Robertino, who just said we need to continue to listen to these voices and have these cultural experiences. So he's thanking you for your work.
Gracias. Muchas gracias.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias por la invitación. Y pues sí pienso ir al estreno. Claro que sí voy a ir a visitarlos y para estar viendo, y no le voy a avisar a los nietos, porque luego me la pueden quitar. No lo pueden saber. Yo no digo nada, que al cabo yo tengo todos sus libros. No hay ningún problema. Muchas gracias y nos vemos en San Francisco. Sí, va a ser un placer poder ir. ¿Sí? ¿Para cuándo piensan montarla? Pues con este problema, quién sabe, ¿verdad? Sí, no sabemos. Bueno, muchas gracias, sí, y nos vemos en San Francisco, ¿eh?
Claro que sí, doctora.
Sí.
I think Francisco froze.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say, like hearing all of these, and Tony, like, you wanting to help, the people to voice to have their voices heard.
Now, I have a question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Keep going, Deborah. We'll get him back in.
So I just wanted to say, like, what we're doing, whether we know it or not, we're building bridges, and that it's so important. We're not only talking about the value of female and feminism, but we're also talking about the value of building bridges, bringing people together, and we need that more than ever today,
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Apparently, we're apart from this, with these weird times we're living, but translation and storytelling and theater and cinema, all these discourses bring people together. I mean, we can tell what's happening with our worlds to a whole new audience. And then we have the joy to discover that we're not so different nor apart. We are actually together. We're experiencing similar things. It's an amazing job to be able to share stories with everybody.
I wanted to tag on to that. Thank you so much for those comments, because as someone whose first language is English, I took Spanish and I don't feel very confident to speak it fluently. I love to engage in, like, I could look at like Alba saying, bravo to everybody, with great joy for representation for our world. I'm like, okay, I can engage with that. And when Bong Joon-ho won the Oscar for Parasite this year, he talked about the fact that if we can get over the subtitles, that one little inch at the bottom of our screen, if we can get over that, we will become so much more aware of the stories of the world, like those international films, these international stories. And I just started watching Gentefied on Netflix, and a majority of it is in Spanish. And I'm loving it because it's engaging my Spanish side. It's engaging my awareness of these brave voices. And so the reason why we do need these things too, not just people who speak Spanish, but others of us, so that we can connect and link arms more, so we can be a more unified and diverse culture. So yeah, Bravemaker definitely applauds the work that you're doing. And I know we're so scrappy and so small. I know you all are hustling, these artists, to make these things take so much time and effort and sweat and money, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. Fera says, representation matters, and we need people need to see themselves on screen, and I need to see other people on screen too, to remind myself that my world is not just what I see. It's not just the little narrow-minded thing that I have on my everyday, on an everyday basis. So thank you for that. We need that. And Bravemaker needs you to push through to make the world what we need it to be, make it better.
And thank you for linking film and theater,
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's not a competition.
Right. No.
We're sisters, brothers and sisters. We need
Right.
each other. And
Yeah.
that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So I know you're going to do a reading of an excerpt here. So I'll turn it back over to you all.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so we're gonna do a little sample. This is from the end of Act 2. I talked a little bit about it earlier, but it's at the end of Act 2 when Azucena, she finds out that Fernando, her lover, is marrying a younger woman and leaving her for just to fend on her own, And by this point, Azucena has nobody on her side. She has been rejected by her family and her society, which was a bourgeoisie society at the time. And she was now in a bohemian society of friends who are now seeing her as, dirty, taboo. She's no longer has a place to go after this. So this is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So just give us a second. We'll pull up the text.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And whenever, by this point, Azucena's almost out the door. Everyone's asking her to leave. They're asking her, get out, because she's disrupting a very fun party that one of the characters is having, and he does not want this mess at his house, pretty much. Okay. So whenever you are ready,
Okay.
Deborah.
Ready. And you poor thing, crying too? Maybe you're a good man. Maybe you love me. That's just too bad for you. After his empty promises, how am I going to believe you?
That's enough, Azucena. This is over. Let's say goodbye like friends who once loved each other.
Like good friends? You're such a saintly man. The one pretending to be a decent person? My work. Here's your work. Your masterpiece. Tell me, how are you ever going to get married being such a miserable, pathetic man?
That's enough insults. I'm getting married, that's right. It's finished. I'm getting married because I can. Because I have an honorable name to offer.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. You only dishonor your names when you rob or murder. You're an honorable man. You engage in every vice, but you're honorable. You infected me with your plague, but you're honorable. You throw me out into the abyss, leave me with nowhere to go. You had a multitude of women laid out in your embrace, but go honorably to the arms of a virgin. Your name is above all that squalor and wretchedness, and all the men have always been and will always be like that. All of them. All of them. They've all got a little Fernando inside.
Out! Get out!
Yes, I am going. I'll be cursing you all from out there. While you, honorable, regenerated gentlemen, with your new lives, looking down at me from on high, that's where you're heading. For us, the women, this is where we're going. Follow him, everyone. Just like me. Just like me. Despicable people.
Yay!
Ay,
Wow.
bien. Ay,
Wow.
muy bien, qué bárbaro. Sí, va a ser un éxito, ¿eh? Sí, va a ser un
Yes.
éxito.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias a ustedes, sí, porque los
Thank
dos
you.
actúan muy bien, ¿eh? Los dos. Muy bien, muy
Gracias.
bien. Sí, me gustó mucho. Sí,
Gracias. Gracias.
qué
Perfecto.
bueno.
Ay, qué bueno.
Qué
And I
emoción.
want to
got
thank
goosebumps.
all of you. Yeah, me too.
Sí, sí. Nada más me avisas con tiempo hay vuelo directo de Guadalajara a San Francisco, entonces puedo ir perfectamente bien. Sí. Ay,
There you go.
estoy muy emocionada.
No.
Sí, sí, de veras, no creía que iba a suceder eso 97 años después de que la escribió. Sí, sí,
Wow.
sí.
11 years.
So
Yeah.
it's incredible. 97 years. It's been
Oh,
97 years since that piece
sí.
was written, you know, and
Mm.
I will have one question for la doctora, which I don't know this. Doctora, había una producción de esa obra recientemente en México. ¿Usted vio una producción de esta obra? I'm asking if there has been an actual production of this play, you know, in recent years.
No, fíjate que yo estoy pues siempre buscando y no. No, ahora pues el teatro ha cambiado mucho, ¿verdad? Ya no interesan esos temas porque ya las mujeres nos liberamos. Entonces, pues ya no interesa. Ese es el problema. Sí. Pero ya con esta, y si vienen a Guadalajara y la presentan en español, pues va a ser un éxito. Sí,
Definitely.
vamos.
Sí.
Sí,
Sí.
sí.
Definitely.
Ya, hay que hacerlo, ¿eh? Sí.
Yeah.
Qué gusto.
And in Spanish, this play has not been produced, probably since it was originally written. Yeah.
Sí.
So, you know, this is very innovating, very fresh and new for English and in Spanish, you know, for both of our cultures.
Ay, qué barra, felicidades, ¿eh? Qué maravilla de que están
Gracias.
haciendo eso, ¿eh? Sí, y
Gracias.
ponle que es 97 años después de haberse escrito. Sí,
Muy importante ese dato.
sí, 97 años. Voy a darles la fecha
And-
exacta del estreno. Sí,
Okay.
sí.
Okay.
Yo te las mando para que tengan la fecha del estreno. ¿Eh?
Okay.
Sí, qué bonito.
And this, just leaving with this note, you know, the Mexican American Conservatory Theater, like Isabel and Tony, and how we've all been talking about, and Deborah, is this bridge. You know, I think Lourdes, unfortunately, by technical difficulties, she's present, but we weren't able to conversate with her. That was my main goal, is to build a bridge between Mexico and the U.S., specifically within the theater community. Porque in Mexico, there's a lot of exchange with other countries in theater, actually, with, you know, other Spanish-speaking countries, European countries, but very little exchange with the U.S. And this is what this play is beginning to do, is build that bridge between our cultures, Because again, like Isabel said, we're all the same. There's Catalina, beautiful, on the, we were just looking at her. And yeah, it's a bridge, and we're going to continue building and supporting that bridge and that foundation, so we can let people cross without any worries. You know, right now it's a little shaky because we're still building it, but but here we go, right?
Build that bridge, get over it somehow. Even if it's wobbly, you make it work. And so, yeah, thank you to you all. That's right. Bravo, kudos, muchas gracias a todos, and to all of our Brave Maker audience. Hey, for sure, for sure. We'll keep linking arms and finding ways to do this together. I keep getting the word that we're not going to have any public performances or film festivals for the rest of the year, which is super sad. We were going to try to bring it back in September. We still don't know. We're holding out hope. But I just want to say to all of you watching, you know, the arts need you. The arts need you. These actors and creators and writers need you. Brave Maker needs you. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, and so all of the donations that we get are tax deductible. We actually have a matching campaign right now, so all the donations that come in through the end of May are going to be doubled by our grantor, the JML Foundation, and that enables us to do these things and to offer free experiences for the public. We were going to do this bilingual workshop for parents and families to use theater to know how to communicate and express, and we still want to do that someday with Francisco's leadership. So just follow along, and if you're not on our mailing list to get these type of free experiences, you can go to bravemaker.com/buzz and sign up today. You'll get free interviews like this, free films, and other creative arts experiences that I think will shape you, because brave stories change the world, and you are the story. So thank you all for being with us today, and thanks for being on our broadcast. Until next time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.